Okay.
A membership card
Mitgliedsausweis.
for the London Crest Club.
Brief. An Mr. F. Wayne, Geschäftsführer der Druckerei Wayne Sons. Werter Mr. Wayne, Ihre Plakate für die große Ausstellung in Kew Gardens sind wundervoll geworden. Allerdings ist es wohl nicht nötig, die gesamte Belegschaft zu erwähnen. Nur mein Name ist ausreichend. Montagu Duna.
A beautiful feather pen of a good make. This watch is of great value.
Ich überlege. Ich glaube, der Typi, der so schimpft mit den Jungen, war wohl eher nicht so lieb befreundet mit dem Dune. Ja, und wer kann sich denken?
Locked. Locked.
Schade. Da ist auch immer die gleiche Person, glaube ich, drin. Magu. Achso, da stehen auch immer die Namen, ist ja cool. Erstmal natürlich wieder hier umgucken, ob es hier was Interessantes gibt. Und jetzt die Leiche untersuchen.
Let us carry out an external examination. There are no suspicious marks upon the chest. Let us finish our external examination, so that we can proceed with the autopsy. No redness, stings, or bruises.
Ich sehe jetzt
Nothing suspicious here.
Ja. Würde ich auch so sagen. Gesicht. Ja, der ist...
There is an injury to the skull, most probably caused by the fall in the water lily greenhouse. The air from the lungs carries a faint floral aroma.
Was hat er daran gerochen oder was? Ah, an der Leiche riechen. Ja.
The vessels and the pupil of the eye appear quite normal. Now, let us examine the internal organs.
Ja. Oh, lecker. Yummy, yummy. Oh, richtig schön das. Ja. Das...
There is a small amount of content. It
Watson
appears that he
Spaß dran hat,
breakfasted
ihn
lightly, only
aufzuschneiden.
a short while before
Und
his
pfeift
death.
erstmal so rum. Ihr müsst es noch irgendwas zu üben.
The stomach tissues show no visible pathological signs.
Yummy, yummy, yummy. Und sieht sehr... Muss man... Oh, das wollte ich eigentlich nicht.
The liver is enlarged. It would seem that he was suffering from an alcohol addiction.
Oh, die Leber ist groß. Hat der arme...
The liver tissue is
Typi
brown. There are no visible pathological signs.
zu viel getrunken.
The lungs are congested and edematous.
Ja, und hier muss man sagen, das sieht ja irgendwie alles so komisch aus. Boah, Alter.
The tissue on the inferior lobe of the right lung is damaged, most probably caused by toxins from an unknown plant.
Kann es durch eine...
The heart's blood vessels show no pathological signs.
der verschwundenen Pflanzen sein? Wenn ja, dann...
The heart tissue shows no visible pathological signs.
dass man halt nicht so nachweisen kann, dass das der... das gibt also...
The suspicions have been substantiated. Montague Dunn, the director of Kew Gardens, died from poisoning. Plant poisoning, to be more exact.
You mean
Yes, it is murder.
we should inform Lestrade?
Yes, but do remember, Watson, that I discovered the murder. The challenge is mine.
The challenge, Holmes?
We need to locate that deadly plant. Such a perfect murder appeals to me.
Murder of any kind appeals to you. Is that all we need to do?
No, We also have the people working at Kew Gardens, Martin Hamish, and the son of the victim, Albert Dunn.
And also Miss White, of whom we spoke with Mr. Hamish. Should we bring them all here for interrogation?
No. A few innocuous questions at Kew will suffice, as well as a discreet delve into their personal affairs. Yes, Watson, it is time now to open the doors.
Even those in the staff building? I suppose that is necessary.
We should also be concerned with the victim himself. After all, we don't know very much about Montague Dunn.
You're enjoying this already, aren't you?
More than a little.
Will ich ausbehaupten. Ja, sehr sowas von würde ich das brauchen. Vergiftung. Dun war eingesperrt. Montagu Dune hat ein tödliches Pflanzengift eingeatmet, mit dem er ermordet wurde. Natürlich passt das zusammen, wäre er auch unglücklich, wenn nicht. Dune wurde vergiftet, nachdem Montagu Dune im Kolonialhaus eingeschlossen wurde. Inhalierte er ein tödliches Pflanzengift. Ja. Ein Gelände. Boah, Alter, ich dachte schon. Ich frage mich echt, was da ist. Finden Sie heraus, was Mund zu untersuchen die Gebäude. Untersuchen Sie die Gebäude in Cave Gardens, sammeln Sie Informationen. Warte. Okay. Gut, ich wollte nur mal gucken. Anfahren. Der Watson diesmal alles sieht. Das ist schön. Ich hab Kopfschmerzen, Alter, das geht gar nichts. Das ist verdammt bescheuert. Alter. Boah, Alter, wie lange das lädt. Das ist ja unglaublich. Oh, geht doch. Alter, ich dachte schon, da wurde ein Gesicht reingemalt. Geben Sie uns sofort den Schlüssel, sonst hört er mir sie. Sie. Alter.
Mr. Hamish, can you explain to us what happened to the colonial collection? It seems somewhat depleted.
But, most likely maintenance work, tidying up.
You're not sure, then? But you're the deputy director.
Well, I am busy. I cannot be everywhere at once.
As deputy director, how was your relationship with Montague Dunn?
To be honest with you, Mr. Holmes, it could have been better. You see, every Tuesday he would carry out his inspection of the gardens, but it was solely to make an impression. Great pretense that he cared at all. He would give out absurd orders, ignoring anyone else's opinion. He would then disappear for the rest of the week. He was what some might call a man of action. I'd say rather he was overzealous and chaotic. So after all, it was no wonder, perhaps, that he ended up like that, if you take into consideration his kind of lifestyle.
You mentioned that Mr. Dunn led a particular lifestyle.
Well, it's no secret that he enjoyed, celebrating, shall we say? He was a member of the London Smart Set. He was famous for it. That
And...
he had an eye for the ladies, to put it mildly, Mr. Holmes.
Sieht aber nicht so nach so.
Mr. Hamish, can you tell us who holds the keys to the locked greenhouses?
That would be Albert, Mr. Dunn's son. Yes, Albert keeps all the keys, and one can only imagine why.
What do you mean?
Well, he was never interested in Kew Gardens before, and now all of a sudden he's trying to act as if he owns the place. I think he wants to take over the management here. He'd do better to leave that to me. He has no experience. No, none at all.
What is your opinion of Albert as a student of botany?
He's useless. I often tell him so, and I can only give him cleaning tasks. Botany is not his life's work, and his father well knew it. He was furious about it.
He was?
Oh yes, he forced his son to work here, and he never missed an opportunity to criticize him publicly.
Are you able to elaborate on that?
Well, for example, with our last exhibition here, Mr. Dunn had Albert make a presentation speech. But then, while the lad was speaking, Mr. Dunn interrupted him, asking him difficult questions, making him look like a failure. It was with the intention of making a fool of him, Mr. Holmes.
That must have been terribly humiliating.
Yes, he was crushed, and he had to leave. Everybody was making fun of poor Albert. That is, except for Miss Margaret White, who is such a nice lady and who always takes pity on Albert.
You mentioned a Miss White. Would you tell us more about her?
She is a student who works here part-time. She is quite charming indeed. She possesses a great talent for botany. You should take a look at some of her experiments that she carried out in the laboratory. Ah, if only she were not so naive.
Why naive?
The way she used to flutter around Mr. Montague Dunn. And he... why, he couldn't help but be flattered by all her attention. How could an intelligent woman such as Miss White not see through his game? I can only scratch my head and wonder.
Tell me, Mr. Hamish, do you grow the more deadly variety of plant here?
You mean insectivorous? Yes, but nothing larger than that.
Thank you, Mr. Hamish. We shall continue our investigation.
Jeden Dienstagmorgen führte Montagegurt eine flüchtige Inspektion der botanischen Gärten durch. Seine Kollegen, vor allem Mr. Hamish, waren von dieser Angewohnheit nicht gerade begeistert. Achso, das ist falsche Richtung. Wir müssen ja mit den jungen Mann reden. Mit den jungen Mann reden. Und er ist hier. Hier.
Who is Miss Margaret White?
Ah, she is the young lady who studies with me. She visits here sometimes to help out with the greenhouses. In fact, she should be here today. She wanted to work at the seed house. That's the small greenhouse across from the large glass house.
We noticed that a part of the colonial collection has been cleared.
Ah, at the moment I'm just dealing with the storage room. I don't know much about the other rooms.
I imagine that your relationship with your father may have been a strained one.
Yes. I cannot say that he was a kind man, for he never listened to me at all. He forced me to work here. But now, after his death, I've been pondering it over. Perhaps he wasn't so wrong about me after all. I have to follow his path, and I have to manage Kew Gardens. And I can do it. I can be as good as any other who works here.
Would you please tell us about Martin Hamish, the Deputy Director?
Well, I have to tell you that Mr. Hamish is not and has never been the Deputy Director of Kew Gardens. My father would not have tolerated it.
Indeed? Well, that is most interesting. He told us that he was.
Yes, because he believes that the management should be passed down to him now that my father is dead. But in actual fact, Mr. Hamish only has the honour of being the garden's longest-serving employee. In fact, if we are to think logically at all, it should be me who takes over the management of Kew Gardens.
Do you not have a good relationship with Mr. Hamish?
I suppose so. But we have very little in common. Mr. Hamish loves his plants and Kew Gardens, and I cannot say that I share his passion.
I see. And how was his relationship with your father?
Oh, he hated my father. It was obvious. He would be furious whenever my father boasted of Kew Gardens in the newspapers or at conferences. He was convinced that my father was stealing all of the credit for himself. But my father treated Mr. Hamish in the same way as he treated anyone. Dismissively. With indifference.
Do you hold the keys to all of these locked doors?
Yes, you can have them. But I cannot give you the keys to the cloakroom. The employees' effects are private. I am sure you understand.
Thank you, young man. We shall see you again soon.
Finden Sie die Pflanze nach... Finden Sie die... Untersuchen Sie das Gebäude in Kew Gardens und sammeln Sie... Finden Sie es heraus. Treffen Sie... Oh, Alter. Treffen Sie Miss Vargens White im Satzhaus. Wo ist das zum Teufel? Ein Satzschlüssel für alle Türen in Kew Gardens, außer für den zum Gebäude. Martin Hamish stellt sich als der stellvertretende Direktor von Kew Gardens vor. Ja, es könnte sein, dass er da nicht ganz wahr die Wahrheit sagte.
Just be careful with the plant.
Hä? Ist das nicht die Umkleide? What the heck? Keine Ahnung.
Nursery.
Nein, da stand noch was anderes. Ah, scheiße. Das sieht offen aus.
A thesis written by Martin Hamish. A glasses case. It is empty. This area serves as Martin Hamish's office. An award presented to Martin Hamish for Best Grower of the Year. A master's degree diploma. It belongs to Martin Hamish. These young plants must be delicate if they are kept in the nursery.
Na, Watson. Bürste. Na.
It is a bust of Montague Dunn.
Da hat jemand wirklich sehr extrem...
I am curious if the marble that we found...
Schade.
Here it is. The marble fragment that we found in the Colonial Collection Room is what they have in common.
Sag mir nicht, du hast die Bürste jetzt mitgenommen, gut. Sorry. Alter.
The seeds of plant species are stored here.
Sollte hier nicht die Dame sein? So. Dings da. Sind wir jetzt und... Boah, ich dachte schon, da wird Blut. Achso, da steht öffnen oder... ja. Das andere. Hier kann man's...
Open.
Auf einmal ist es offen. Merkwürdig. Erstmal gucken wir uns hier um und dann machen wir die Dame. Dann im nächsten Part.
These
Handschuhe.
leather gloves are new and of good quality. They do not appear to have been used. Materials for college study. They belong to Albert. This place serves as Albert's office. A book about ships. Nothing at all to do with plants.
Der interessiert sich wohl mit Schiffen oder für Schiffen. Fragen. Ein Urteil. Boah, ich habe gerade keine Ahnung, was neu ist. Das kennt man gar nicht mehr. Ah, hier. Albert Duns Hauptplatz befindet sich im Saatgut. Was soll das gut sein, wenn das Fenster offen ist? Soll ich was gucken? Ja, jetzt können wir auch viel mehr machen.
A water tank. A ventilator.
Konnte man noch mehr machen. Bin ich blind? So. Bisschen wahrscheinlich. Egal, dann sehen wir uns beim nächsten Mal bei diesem schönen Fall. Und dann würde ich so behaupten, bis dann. Mit diesem Fenster, offenen Fenster. Tschüss.